is 129 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about hair. How is your hair gonna survive Burning Man, especially if you have uncontrollable hair? Before Burning Man, you're gonna want to treat your hair really, really well because you're about to put it through hell. So, maybe get a trim, get rid of any split ends, start using some hair masks. You don't need anything fancy. A lot of people just use coconut oil or olive oil or homemade mashed up avocados. There's a ton of recipes on Pinterest probably. So start using them and just treat your hair as well as you can so that it's nice and healthy before you even get to Burning Man. If you wear your hair down a lot, start wearing it up in the kind of styles that you're going to do at Burning Man, because to go from having it down all the time to like wearing a ponytail or something, it can be quite heavy on your head and it can start to hurt. So you kind of want to prepare your scalp for the hairstyles you're going to be doing if you don't normally do them. So let's talk about some good hairstyles for while you're at Burning Man. Braids are a really good choice. They are quite fashionable right now. I like the Dutch braid things that people do, and there's lots of tutorials out there for different cool braided styles, but it's basically, it's going to keep all your hair securely in a braid, and it's not just going to be flying all over the place, collecting dust and just turning into a rat's nest. If you've got really thick hair or curly hair or frizzy hair, then it can help to straighten it first. It's just going to help it stay in that braid, and if it does come out and you need to redo it while you're there, it's just going to be a bit more manageable. Some people like to go with dreadlocks, real or fake, because obviously you don't need to worry too much about tangling because you've got dreadlocks. But they are a bit more complicated. It's not the kind of thing you want to get done just before you go to Burning Man. It's best to go and speak with whoever's going to be doing your dreadlocks first to see how long in advance they'd advise getting them done. Dreadlocks can really pull on your scalp. For the first few weeks they can be quite uncomfortable for your scalp, and they can give you headaches, and it's a lot of weight and pulling. And they also take some time to settle if you're getting real dreadlocks. With synthetic dreadlocks, it's a lot of extra weight to suddenly have on your head, so again it can cause pulling on your scalp, which can make it quite sensitive. It can give you headaches. It can just kind of be uncomfortable and make everything a bit sensitive. So again, it's probably something that you're going to want to get put in advance so that your head just has time to adjust to it. I know for some people, it's not an option to have your dreads put in advance because of your job or something. So if you are going to have them put in right before Burning Man, make sure you know how to get them out so that if your scalp does start to hurt and it's just too much for you, then you know how to get them out. A great thing about the synthetic ones is obviously once you get back to the real world, you can just take them out, and they're quite easy to wash. I imagine washing real dreads that are full of playa dust is quite an adventure. Cornrows or box braids, baby braids, whatever you like to call them, they can be another good option because again, you're keeping all your hair kind of contained, so it's not just going to be tangling around itself. But again, it has the same kind of thing like with dreadlocks. It can be quite an intense change for your scalp. So it can get a bit sensitive, you can end up with headaches, things like that. So again, it's something you'd probably want to do in advance. If you're planning on letting your hair fly free, then you're very brave. And even if you have fine straight hair that doesn't usually tangle, you'll probably find that it does, because all that dust and everything is just going to get in there and just make a mess of things. So make sure you bring along, some hairbands and things like that, just in case it does get too much and you're like, I need all this hair off my face and out of the way. Styling products are a little bit risky at Burning Man because, there's no way to wash your hair. So if you're putting gel or wax or something in your hair every day, it's just kind of building up, and things can get a bit nasty and gross. So I would suggest avoiding any kind of heavy products or products that tend to leave a residue. With hairspray, it can end up being flaky and a bit weird. I would avoid things like that. But things if you have frizzy hair and you have maybe a spray, or I use Brazil nut oil, and those things, they don't leave a residue as long as you're not overusing them. So be really careful about which styling products you do choose to bring along if you don't have a shower and you're not going to be washing your hair. Because I can't imagine what a week of hair gel plus playa dust is going to look like, but it's probably not good. I love wigs. They're the perfect thing for when you're having a bad hair day, which happens at Burning Man. But I wouldn't bring my wigs to Burning Man because I like my wigs, and whatever your hair is going to suffer, your wigs will suffer worse, especially, synthetic ones and things like that. They tangle just on a regular day doing not that much. At Burning Man, At Burning Man, it's just, they're going to be ruined. It would be very, very difficult to get your wig back to a decent state after Burning Man. So I would say only really take wigs that you don't really mind if you have to throw them away afterwards. Although there are plenty of ways to, wash and treat wigs and get them looking good, but it can be a lot of effort after something like Burning Man. Plus, they're really, really hot to wear. Like, you get a really hot head. But, if you want to bring wigs, I would advise bringing cheap ones that you really don't mind if they're just destroyed after Burning Man and you can never wear them again. If you have greasy or oily hair, then, maybe bring along some dry shampoo. Some people swear by playa dust as a dry shampoo. I have never tried it because I don't really get greasy hair. But, just bear in mind that if you don't have a shower and you put playa dust in your hair, then you have no way to kind of wash that playa dust back out. So it's up to you. It might be safer to just go with dry shampoo that you usually use and works for you. And then maybe give it a go on like the last day, and then you can tell us whether or not it worked for you. Make sure you bring along extra hair ties and things like that, because you don't want to get to day 3 and have your only hair tie snap and then spend the rest of the week walking around being like, please, does anyone have a hair tie? I like to bring along things like these headbands so that I can just, keep my hair back off my face, because I have lots of like frizzies, and this is just an easy way to keep everything nice and out the way. Once you get back from Burning Man, you are going to repeat the pre-Burning Man thing, so maybe wash your hair a few times before you go to the hairdresser, because I'm sure they are not going to love you if you turn up fresh from Burning Man. But, get a trim, get rid of any split ends, use some hair masks, coconut oil, smashed avocado, and just generally treat your hair really, really nicely. You want to get as much like moisture and life back into it as you can. If you do end up with a bird's nest, then the best thing you can do is cover it with coconut oil or conditioner, and then get like a wide tooth comb and just comb through it as best you can. And then once that comb's going through it, switch up to a smaller toothed comb and just keep going with that until your bird's nest is gone, and hope that you don't have to cut off too much. So that's it, guys. I hope this was helpful. If any of you have any tips or suggestions for good hairstyles or ways to take care of your hair at or before or after Burning Man, let us know in the comment section below. And as always, if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye, guys.